Good morning, Service Lines community. How is everybody doing out there today? Good morning.
Good morning, Service Alliance Group. Oh, wait, that's Zach's line. Yeah. Sorry, Zach. Didn't mean to steal it from you.
He's the only one that can do that decent like that.
I just saw a really new feature on Facebook when you have live videos. You can listen now. So I'm going to have to check that out later. There's a listen, like, comment, and share. And I'm like, listen, that's cool. So I guess they're trying to get their lives like a little bit more like YouTube, I guess.
Yeah. Too bad they only stay up for a month.
Yeah.
But what you gonna do? World's changing. Facebook's changing a lot.
When they come for you.
So today we're talking about reclaiming balance.
I thought we were talking about the hustle.
Well, the hustle never stops.
I actually like that.
That's why we're reclaiming the balance.
That sounds like a song. I need to write a song about that. When the hustle never stops. Could be what do you think? Disco song. When the hustle. There's already one. Do the hustle.
Do the hustle. There you go. Everybody's out there doing the hustle.
Yeah, that's one of the most iconic songs, I think. The hustle.
So today we're digging into a topic hits home for every service business owner, technician, and team member: work-life balance.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're in an industry that never stops. Emergencies never stop. Calendar's always full, or should be always full.
But good morning, Jojo. Joe Pragnagner.
One of these days, I got to ask him exactly how to pronounce that.
Right? Hey, drop in the comments if you're going to PSA this year, or if you're going to go to USA, the other one, or if you're doing any other kind of vendor shows this year. I would love to know who's going where this year.
Yeah, PSA is coming up September. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah. We're trying to determine who and where we're going to go this year. I don't think we're going to try to hit them all up. So,
you can't hit them all up. It gets too expensive and too much time away.
From a vendor standpoint, it is super expensive. Like,
yes,
we end up spending on average about $5,000 to $7,000 per vendor show between travel, the cost of the vendor booth, etc. So, and that's cheap compared to some of them. Like, there's been a few of them
they add up for sure.
15 to 20,000.
It's not just showing up and buying a ticket, and paying for a hotel. It's for a vendor. It's all the tchotchkes you give out and
the sponsorships and everything. So so we're watching our P's and Q's this year. We're going to try to figure out which ones we'll go to. So I'd like to know where all you all are going to. That'd be good to know.
Yeah, PSA is going to be bigger this year. So bigger, better.
Vegas.
I'm excited for this one.
Vegas.
Lots of new changes. But let's dig into this work-life balance thing. I'm going to unpack what real balance looks like in the trades, how to set healthy boundaries and practical systems you can implement.
Good morning, Heston Mays.
Heston, that's a name I haven't seen yet.
Yeah,
good morning,
he's a local guy here. So I've gotten to know him quite well through BNI, and Austin knows him well through BNI. So local BNI guy.
Yeah. Sweet. All right,
Paul. Hey, Paul. Paul's going to Asti, he says. So,
yeah. All right, I'll open us up in prayer. If you want to do the verse?
Sounds like a good one.
All right, dear Father, I want to thank you for this opportunity to speak to our audience and allow us to get together and learn how your idea of work-life balance applies to us in our daily lives, and how we can use this time to learn how to I guess, keep our stress under control by balancing our home life, business life, friends, family, all of the things. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
All of the things.
All
That's a
the
lot of
things.
things. Yeah,
We all got a lot of things going on in our lives.
we do.
There's always something.
4th of July.
Yeah.
That's a big one this weekend. You realize it'll be 250 years next year
Yeah.
for America. 250 years.
America.
That's pretty cool. And we're still one of the youngest countries too.
Yes, we are.
All right.
Very
Man, you
young.
gave me a lot of choices. I'm going to go with Proverbs 17:1 because I don't think we've ever done that one before. Better a dry crust with peace and quiet than a house full of feasting with strife. I like that. Better a dry crust with peace and quiet than a house full of feasting with strife. Busyness without peace isn't success.
Yeah. How many of you guys out there are just busy all the time?
Yeah.
You still spin your wheels.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there many, many times.
I mean, I keep thinking of a pizza, dry crust pizza. I'm a thin crust kind of guy. Some guys like it, some guys don't. So, yeah, I don't know. All right. Well, hey, let's dive into this. I got no dad jokes today, so we're gonna talk about.
I was waiting for one actually.
Maybe I'll come up with one. I can find my dad joke book. I moved more of my books into this office, and I've got a box right here with my books in it, and my dad jokes are probably at the bottom of it, so I'll have to just pull one out of thin air.
But, I don't know that book. It's probably a good thing it's buried.
Ouch. Wait, no, okay,
it didn't have the best jokes.
Well, okay, whatever. Let's see. Referrals. Here we go. Since Heston was in here talking about BNI, he's an insurance guy, American Family Insurance, by the way. Referrals are like dad jokes. If you give a good one, people smile. If you give a bad one, they still remember you. That's less of a dad joke and more really a realistic quote.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, so let's talk about this podcast. I want to say we've talked a lot about burnout, but when the hustle never stops, you can lead to burnout. That's for sure. So the hidden cost of always being on goes right into burnout. Burnout is really common in the home services industry, in the trades period. And it's just because, like you were saying, we have all these hours that we're out there working, and it's feast or famine cycles. So, lack of boundaries, that can affect your marriage, that can affect your parenting, that can affect your health. Health is a big one because we're always on the go, and if we don't plan properly for our food, and then we end up getting the fast food crappy stuff from McDougal's and Sunics and all the other crappy ones. So so planning is important for your day. What are you doing first thing in the morning?
That reminds me, speaking of planning your meals and stuff, like my daughter is a big health nut. She goes to the gym almost every day, and I came home last week and she was like cooking all this stuff, and she planned out her meals for breakfast, lunch, and everything for the entire week.
Yeah.
And pre-made it and pre-packaged it, had it all ready to go. And she did that on a Sunday, and I was like, holy crap, that's really organized.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I just don't have time to do it, any other day. And it's just easier to do it all at once.
Well, shoot, affordability too.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't had White Castle since before my mom passed away. And on the way home from St. Louis yesterday, I stopped at White Castle, and just 4 of those little burgers, a side and a drink, was $13. It's White Castle. So, I mean, you can't afford to just go out and eat once to 3 times a day. I mean, that can add up quick when you're on the go. Plus, it's unhealthy,
It adds up more than just financially too.
Yeah. Well, trust me, I know. I've been there. I ballooned up really heavy working in a truck, not focusing on my food intake. That's for sure.
Yeah, convenience is definitely a cornerstone of
Okay, you're gonna go there.
bad habits.
I thought you were gonna say convenience is a witch with the B.
Oh no.
I've heard that one before. I was like, yep, that's where he's going. Nope, he didn't go there. Good. Okay. Success isn't just revenue, it's sustainability. Yeah. It's sustainability. Being able to not get burned out. Man, we've talked about burnout a lot. I have to go back and watch some of the previous episodes about burnout. Setting boundaries without losing business. So you got to define your work hours and stick to them. And that can be tough in the trades. Let me tell you, I 2 to 3 calls a day max. And usually I started my day in the truck at about 8 o'clock and I would try to end it 4 to 5 o'clock. They say banker's hours, right? 9 to 5, a little bit more, but that doesn't mean, my day actually started at like 6 a.m. or before when I was working out a lot, I would start at 5 a.m., go to the gym, come home, take a shower, get ready for work. But usually I'm up at 6, especially when I was running service calls, up at 6, getting prepped, doing something for the morning routine, reading Bible, a little bit of exercise, maybe go for a walk, things like that. And by 7:30, my mind started focusing on my work day, right? Looking at my calendar, what calls do I got scheduled? By 8 o'clock, I'm in the truck, headed to my first call, or 7:45, depending on where that call was. So most of my calls were in 15 to 30 minutes of where I live. So, all right, get the first call done. Depending on how long it takes, I may have time for another call before I go take a quick break for lunch, or maybe I'm getting lunch on the way to the next one. But I try to almost always end my work day at 4 to 5 when I'm running service calls. And if you're a business owner, it's a different story. It can be a lot different. As a service technician in the field, I think you can do a pretty good job of planning your day. I did it for 25 years. As a business owner, we have more things to deal with in our time. So your business day may be more of that 7 to 6 p.m. But I think if you try to set those clear boundaries of 6 p.m., I'm done with work, I'm focusing on my family, I'm eating dinner, I'm doing this, I'm having this time, family time. You got to plan out your day properly, and you got to spend time for it. There's a lot of stuff that goes into, we're given 24 hours in a day for a reason. 8 hours for sleep, 8 hours for work, 8 hours for service to God or for our family. So think about those 24 hours in a day, and what are you going to do with those 3 quadrants, right? And split that up.
And you need to put time on your calendar. You're going to put your schedule, for your running calls, right? Mm-hmm. You need to put time on your schedule for working on your business.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the calls fall after that.
Yeah.
You need to schedule time, with God. You need to schedule time for your families sometimes, and it's tough. It's one thing I had to learn is, put things on the calendar.
Yeah.
Because you're blocked off, and start living by that calendar, and you've got time reserved. And if things need to be changed around, they can be moved around, but at least you have time blocked off.
It's one thing now with what I'm doing work-wise. Austin and Shayna have been trying to talk me into getting a different cell phone number for the business, because I've been handing out my cell phone number for years. And even to some clients, I would do that. Not all of them, like really close friends, really, I don't want to say high-end clients, but clients I've done work for years, they have my cell phone number. Well, in this business, it's like, do I want everybody around the world? Because we talk to people all around the world. Do I want people all around the country and Canada? Some people I know, some people I don't know have my cell phone number. I don't know. That's something you've got to decide for yourself. But through what we've got going on with our software, I can have a whole nother cell phone number that rings into my cell phone number. So I don't have to have the office number or whatever, but I can have it timed. So 8 to 5 p.m., I get phone calls on that number if I'd like so. Or I can schedule. Here's the times that I don't mind getting calls from that number. Another thing you could do is make sure that you've got all your times that you're available, your business hours posted, or whoever's answering your phones, make sure they know, hey, we schedule calls Monday through Friday between 8 and 5 p.m. My next available appointments are Tuesday at 3 p.m. or I can do Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. Which one works better for you? So if you're letting them know in advance, these are my scheduled times that I work, you're letting your clients know they already have that expectation of, oh, if I want him to come out at 7 p.m., he's probably not going to do it, or it's probably going to cost me extra, right? Your time is valuable. And if you have an emergency call, you need to be charging accordingly. I got to the point where my after hours calls were $300 for me to come out and do a very minor diagnostic. It was $300. You know how many people suddenly determined that their emergency was not so much of an emergency?
Exactly.
A good portion of them. It's like, it's $300 if I come out this evening, or it's $89. I can get you on the schedule tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. What would you like me to do? And leave it up to them.
I started doing that years ago, and it brought down so much stress in my life that it was like, sometimes you get that message even after hours and you're like, yeah, I really should call them back. It's going to disrupt my day tomorrow. And it's like, I had that happen last week, and I'm like, no, it's not that important. No. They can wait. It's not a meltdown situation. They'll survive until I get back to them in the morning. And that's what I forced myself to do.
What your time is worth.
Well, it's not just your time, it's your sanity.
Yeah. True. For me, it was okay, $300. If they're willing to pay me $300 to drive out there and spend 15, 20 minutes, I'm okay with that, because it's not just the 15, 20 minutes of actually looking at something. It's the drive time there, the drive time back. So really about $300 for an hour, I'll take that, sure.
Well, and at what point does that money outweigh your time that you've set aside,
or the disruption of your life?
Exactly. Or the added stress, longer days.
What are you missing in lieu of that $300? And I'm not just saying $300, that late night dispatch fee or whatever you want to call it, emergency fee. Are you missing out on your kids' t-ball game? Are you missing out on graduation? Or what are you missing out on for, a few bucks? Is that really worth it? For me, no. I will definitely say there wasn't much of anything that I ever missed of my kids growing up. I think I started
actually looking at it like this. If that extra money, and I looked at it as extra money, could I have made that extra money during my work hours, during my business hours? And if I couldn't, is that extra money worth replacing what I'm missing?
Yeah.
And would that actually pay, say yard work, right? I needed to do yard work this Saturday, but now I got a call. Is that worth it? Would it replace me paying a landscaper to come out and do that yard work for me? It's like the yard work still needs to get done.
Yeah.
And now you're just shifting everything. And by the time you start shifting all this stuff, everything starts getting cut out, and that could be your kids, your family, your wife, working around the house, whatever it needs to be done, just having some relaxation time, and it eventually that's going to add up.
Yeah.
And it's going to pile up and catch up to you. So I'm a big fan of time blocks for sure.
Yeah, no, you've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Time
So
blocking. Tell me more, Mike. Tell me more.
like I said, when this stuff adds up, it destroys your focus and it makes your day longer. And then you're back in that loop of hustling and it never ends.
Mhm.
And if you don't plan it before your day begins, like I write lists. I've said this before. I love lists and I write it down and I look at that list. And if something from that list needs to go on the calendar, it goes on the calendar.
Yeah.
And then everything else is just, basic checklists. So I just go down the line and I try to be as efficient as possible. And I knock off all the easy tasks first. Because if you knock off those easy tasks, you see progress and you see quick progress. Makes you feel better about knocking stuff off. Last week, my wife was like, how'd your day go? And I'm like, you know what? I was really busy today.
Mhm.
And then I started thinking, I'm like, I have no idea what the freaking hell I did. I did a lot of stuff, but I have no idea what I did. And I just feel like I was busy. Like I didn't feel accomplished.
Yeah.
And when you write it down and you start going through it, because you're multitasking, you're doing all these different things all the time. And it's like, I did this. Oh yeah, I did this, but there was like 100 other things that I forgot I did. And you get your distractions.
Yep.
Definitely. Clients call you, you get a call back, whatever it may be, and it's disruptive.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you're not writing that stuff down and tracking it and figuring out where your time went, you can't manage it.
Yeah. I'm still a little old school. I got old pen and paper. I do a lot with.
Yep. Me too.
That. I don't know.
Got mine right here.
I've got my Google Calendar and I've got everything digital, but when I go to meetings and stuff, and especially when I'm talking to somebody one-on-one, I hate this. Let me take some notes. And that's all you see is you think they're playing on their phone. Whereas, and the same thing with me, when I had my invoice, my work order, it was pen and paper. Hey, I'm going to take some notes while we're talking. I got a few questions. Is that going to be okay? And literally they see me writing. So it's not a distraction versus I'm on my phone typing, because I don't know, that's me. But something about pen and paper means, hey, I'm listening to you versus I'm going to take some notes and I'm just clicking away on my phone. I feel like that's another podcast for another time. So,
well, moving along, investing in rest and recovery. This is a huge one for me.
Yeah.
Rest
is
you
got a camper reward. Down by the river.
Live in a van down by the river.
Mike and I will both be by the river this weekend, right? We're taking some time for rest.
Yes, I've planned it. Yeah, I'm going down to my daughter's, and she lives an hour and a half away from me, and me and my wife already talked. We're leaving there. We're going straight to the camper.
Yeah.
Do I work from the camper? Oh, heck yeah. I made sure there's internet down there and I'm all hooked up and I can do all my work and do all the things because it's inevitable. You have to work sometimes outside of your hours, but I'd rather work down there.
It's peaceful,
in a restful, peaceful atmosphere because it's just different.
Yeah. For sure.
And I can shut the laptop and just walk away. And instantly I'm in nature. I'm, in a different environment.
You do much fishing out there on the river?
I do a lot of fishing.
That's cool. That's
Last weekend I actually caught the largest fish I've ever caught.
Really?
It was like a 12-pound carp and I snagged it right in its dorsal fin and I still got it up on the bank. I couldn't believe it. It was a total accident. But
catch and release?
That's besides the point. Oh yeah, I released.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of fishing anymore. That's something, I don't know, maybe I need to take up again.
My
Fishing
wife
and
says it's
golfing.
mean.
What's that?
My wife says it's mean.
It's mean. My wife would be like right there with me. She's the kind, she'll put her own worms on the hook and the whole 9 yards, so she don't mind.
Yeah.
So that's my challenge for every one of you watching this or that will watch it. Friday is the 4th of July. It's a holiday. Like, all the banks are going to be closed. All the federal institutions are going to be closed. Close your doors. Go enjoy some time with your family, with your friends. I've got a friend of mine who's turning 50 on Saturday. And for about 8-9 months, I've had it on my calendar. We're going to go spend some time with him this weekend. So it gives us an opportunity to get away for the weekend. And we're going to enjoy some family and friend time, right? More friend time because we don't have any family up there. And this is the 4th of July, first 4th of July that we haven't really spent with our close immediate family. They all got plans. Like, all our kids already had plans, and it's like, all right, we got no plans. We're going to take off and we're going to do this. So we got the invitation months ago. It's like, we're going to go. So my challenge to every single one of you is to take Friday off, take Saturday off too. Try to take the whole weekend off if you can. And go camping, go stay in a hotel, just get away with your family, with your friends.
Oh, you have no idea what that does for your mental stability, and clarity in everything that you do.
If you're saying, hey, man, I really can't afford to go do that, tent camping is cheap. If you have a tent, if you don't have a tent, I got 4 or 5. Give me a call, shoot me a direct message. I'll either sell you one real cheap or you can just use it. If you're that hard up for money, I got tents you can use. Okay. So go tent camping. I mean, there's a lot of primitive campsites that they don't charge you a dime on, a lot of properties that I know of. Some of them are cheap, $10 a night. Your whole family can go tent camping for $10, So, yeah. I'm just saying it can be really cheap. And even if you don't go camping, so what? Go out for a hike, go out for a walk, go
to a state park and just hang out for a whole day and explore.
For sure. Find you something cheap to do and just go do it. Yeah. Take a break from work. You deserve it.
God gave you this business, but he also gave you your family, health, and life outside of it.
Yeah.
Period. End of story.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's your challenge of the week. Pick one area where you've overextended, draw a new boundary, stick to it, and see what changes. That's it.
That's it.
It's simple. It sounds real simple, right? Just go do it.
So what's one area you've been overextended, Mike?
Oh, it's definitely running 2 businesses is a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with my main business, which is Appliance Marketing Pros. Service Alliance Group, is the secondary business for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have a lot to do with that. So it's harder finding the balance between the two.
Okay.
So I still have to schedule time. Like yesterday, I scheduled time. I was like, you know what? I have a lot to do with Service Alliance Group. I blocked off half of my day yesterday just to work on Service Alliance Group stuff, and half went for Appliance Marketing Pros.
Yeah.
And it's what I had to do. And usually I don't need to block off that much time in a week. But I've got an hour scheduled every day on my calendar for the next month.
Yeah.
Just for Service Alliance Group stuff. And it's the only way that I could say, all right, it's on my calendar, it's blocked off. I have to use that time for that. Otherwise, if I don't, it's going to eat into my other time, for my primary business. So, now I took an hour away from what I have, instead of 8 hours, I got 7 hours. Now I've got to figure out what is the most efficient use for my time in 7 hours versus 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Because I just took 5 hours a week off my plate or out of my availability for my other business. So, I need to rearrange some things and get all that mapped out. But that's what I had to do.
Yeah.
And there are going to be some things that I'm going to cut out, and I'm going to cut out the things that don't matter. You will work on the 20% that brings you 80% of what your business brings in.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm focusing on, is what is that 20%? And that's what I'm working on.
Yeah. Because
none of the rest really matters that much.
It's good.
I mean, it might matter, but not that much. So I'm putting my efforts and prioritizing everything 100% towards what's mattering.
Yeah.
When it comes to the businesses.
It's good. That's good.
It's the only way that I could find to just break out the noise. And we all have noise and those shiny objects and things like that distract us. And sometimes I just got to close my eyes and think about that stuff and say, this is what I need to stop focusing on and ignore this noise and junk that's clouding my mind. It's distracting me from what's really important. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm working really hard at that. And it is hard.
Yeah. Good stuff.
And there are little things that always come up, naturally shifting different things, whatever it may be. But it's the exception, not the norm.
True. I think for me, it's been learning new things. Like, that's where I feel like I've been overextended. We've got new product that we've been getting out there and learning it, but it's not just it. I've also got other areas in my life that I'm learning new things in. And I feel like there's so much that it's like some of it's sticking, but not all of it, And so the new boundary that I've got to draw is I'm going to pick one thing instead of multiple things, and I'm going to dive into it and fully learn in it and set those other things kind of aside for right now. That's my boundary. And then stick to that and see what happens. I thought I'd fix that.
Is that what it is?
It's my new camera.
Motions.
Oh, Lord. Oh, man.
But
I click that.
I agree. I mean, that's a great point. Like, get good at one, get really, really, really good at one thing. Just focus on that one thing and master it.
Yeah.
Then you can move on to other things and then master those, because being a jack of all trades and a master of none does not get you anywhere ever. You really need to learn things and get extremely good at it, because that makes you the expert in your field.
Well,
any closing thoughts?
Oh, closing thoughts. I mean, I think we hit it up pretty good. I don't know. A lot of women complain that their husbands never listen to them. I'm proud to say I've never heard my wife say that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's my closing thoughts for today. Hey, my closing thoughts are this. If you found something useful in today's episode, be sure to pay the fee, which is free. All you got to do is simply like, subscribe, share. Service Alliance Group, Appliance Marketing Pros, or My Office Help. Looks like we got a mastermind coming up soon.
Yeah, membership plans. TK is going to walk us through membership plans and how to have more sustainable growth for your business, more predictable growth for your business.
I like it.
And kind of level out those ups and downs that everybody has. So,
and now,
thanks for watching.
Now for the closing video. Thanks for watching the Service Alliance Group podcast.
We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for tuning in to the Morning Grind podcast by Service Alliance Group. Subscribe to our channel and make sure you visit our website at servicealliancegroup.com for appliance repair business resources.